I traded my soul for a book that would tell me everything that would happen in my life. When I flipped ahead a few pages, they were blank. My wife sent me a text message to remind me to get milk at the grocery store. The thing is, she's been dead for years now. The color drained from my face when my next-door neighbor greeted me with a smile this morning. Last night, in a drunken haze, I remember accidentally running him over and fleeing the scene. I like to make sure all the lights are off at night. That way, the homeowners won't see me if they wake up. Ben was sure a monster was hiding under his bed, but that's silly. I'm hiding in his closet. Just as I was about to pass out, I told the doctor I was afraid of surgery. He leaned down and whispered, "Don't worry, I'm not a surgeon." I banged on the wooden door, but no one would open it. Why did my family pick burial instead of cremation? My editor said no one wanted to read a story about another disappearance in the woods. Guess I'm gonna have to start hunting for victims in town now. I talk to my best friend every night, but she only wants to talk about one thing. All she cares about is when I'm going to let her out of the basement. When I used to live in the orphanage, I found the laughter of children comforting. Now that I live alone, I find it far more terrifying. As an undertaker, I had to save all my money to afford a new hearing aid. Walking into the cemetery, a chill ran down my spine as I heard the muffled screams of the people I had buried yesterday. My son disappeared without a trace 3 years ago. Last night, I heard him whisper from his room that he wants to come home. Angry and laying in my hospital bed, I asked Death to reap the souls of the world after taking mine. Death chuckled and said, "In time, I'll take them all." It can be frightening living by yourself. It is far more terrifying to learn you are not alone. I sat down on my couch to review the security cam footage of the break-in at my house. When the deranged man was done destroying my living room, he slithered underneath the couch. I finally found someone after being lost in the national forest for days. Each time I call out to them, they disappear into the tree line, and their sinister smile gets a bit wider. My eyes struggled to open as I slowly started to wake up. Instinctively, I grabbed my phone off the nightstand to check the time. The bright screen was blinding for a moment, but I managed to see a glimpse of the display. It was 1 a.m. Why the hell was I awake? Oh, right. I heard something in the hallway. Sitting up, I looked at my open bedroom door and saw a small silhouette standing at the entrance. In a blur of movement, the small figure ran towards my bed and into my arms. My 5-year-old daughter was awake. "Can't sleep again?" I asked. She nodded her head in response. "You know, this is the 3rd night in a row you've woken me up. It's not nice to wake people up in the middle of the night." My daughter took a moment to consider the words before responding, "Oh, well, the man in my closet isn't very nice then." Suddenly, the sound of heavy footfalls began to echo down the hall towards the bedroom. "I guess he can't sleep either," said my daughter with a giggle. I heard my girlfriend's voice calling for me by the campsite. "Daniel, Daniel." Fighting back the tears, I decided to remain hidden in the brush. There was no way I was coming out to face that thing. It was dark and hard to see. I didn't dare turn on my flashlight, and I was far away from the glowing illumination of the campfire. The park ranger warned us not to camp in this area, said the Native Americans told stories of things that lurked in these woods. The sound of the heavy footfalls of the creature caused me to hold my breath, terrified to make any noise. I wish I had listened. This is all my fault. I clutched my girlfriend's hand, staring at the butchered corpse that laid beside me. I wondered if the monster would steal my voice too, once it found me. Every morning I wake up to a new letter. I don't know why they won't just leave me alone. The first letter asked if they could come over for dinner. The next one asked why I tossed and turned so much in my sleep. And the last one threatened to hurt me for not letting them inside last night. The letters by themselves would be disturbing enough, but the fact that I'm getting them at all keeps me up at night. I live in a remote cabin located in the Yukon Territory. Simply put, I don't get mail out here, and I've been stuck inside for the last few days. The blizzard outside has made it impossible to leave. Any prolonged exposure to the cold could be fatal. Whatever is delivering these letters at night certainly can't be human. Ever since I bought my new house, I had to leave the hall light on to fall asleep. It just helps me feel safe. However, the strange part is when I wake up in the morning, the light is off. At first, I just assumed something was wrong with the light switch, so I did what any responsible homeowner would do and replaced it. I went to bed certain I'd solved the issue, but when I woke up in the middle of the night, the light was off. Getting out of bed, I marched into the hallway. Flipping the switch on the wall failed to turn on the light. Did the bulb burn out? Stepping forward sent a shock of pain through my bare foot that caused me to fall on the ground. Reaching down with shaky hands, I pulled a long piece of glass out of my heel. Then I noticed the smashed light bulb at my feet. As my eyes adjusted to the low level of light, I saw something at the end of the hall. "Keep the light off. The last owner who saw my face went mad," said the figure in the dark. When I was 10 years old, my grandmother used to warn me about the staircases that could lead to the outer edge. It's an infinite world with no way to escape, save for the staircases my family seems to be cursed to find. To be honest, I'm not sure if we find them or create them, but they appear for us, and us alone. The first time I saw a staircase manifest, I was 12 years old. I woke up in my bedroom to the sight of twisted steps descending from the ceiling, and a pale creature stood at the top, beckoning me to follow it into the outer edge. I remembered my grandmother's words and ran in terror, and for the last 27 years I've avoided those steps, until tonight. I went into my youngest child's room and she was gone. All that remained in the room was a staircase leading into the darkness. I have no choice now. I must confront the creature in the dark. Mark's head hurt like hell. He felt around for his keys and phone, but they were missing. Then he checked his back pocket and came to the realization his wallet was gone too. Ah, hell, he got mugged while camping. That was the only explanation that made sense to him. Walking out of the national forest, he saw a group of campers. One of them was nice enough to let him use their phone. Mark just needed to call his wife, then he could get a ride home. She must be worried sick. Hello? It was not his wife's voice who answered the phone. It was his voice. How was that possible? But he could hear his wife laughing and the distant sound of a movie in the background. "Who the hell is this?" said Mark, the ire building in his voice. The response from the stranger sent a chill down his spine. "Don't worry. I'll take care of your family for you, Mark." Then the line disconnected. I was at home when I heard a knocking at the door. Looking at the time, it was 11 p.m. Who would be visiting at this hour, I thought to myself. Getting up from my chair, I hobbled over to the mirror on the wall, checking that my appearance was somewhat appropriate for visitors. Then another thunderous knock echoed through the house, demanding that I hurry. Good night, who was in such a rush? Looking through the glass of the front door, I could see a tall young man in a suit. Something about his big smile and professional appearance disarmed me a bit, made me feel I could trust him. He even waved at me, beckoning me to open the door. But when I opened the door, he was gone, just darkness greeting me. Did I imagine it? Was it all in my head? I thought to myself. When I went back into the living room, I saw the young man waving at me from inside the mirror. Why won't he go away? The Gates of Purgatory is a painting that is often sought after by collectors who enjoy the strange and macabre. As fate would have it, I would get the opportunity to acquire this piece from an estate sale.
Once I had brought it home, I couldn't help but spend my nights marveling at its design. The portrait had a host of people from different ages, each locked into expressions of horror and panic. Viewing the painting was like watching a house burn. It was terrifying and fascinating, all in the same breath. The staff of my manor began to leave without notice. Obviously, the painting was at fault, but when I went to view the work again, I noticed something new in its design. The staff had never left the manor. Their ghastly faces had now become part of the cursed painting, and as I felt my heart throb with pain, I saw my face begin to manifest into that grim design.
Ghastly here. If you enjoyed this story, consider giving the video a like. It's the best, and it's a free way to support my work. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for more stories. Until next time, my friends.